And welcome into the Talk of Champions. I'm Brad Logan on location today, and we're joined by Micah Beutell, who does a great job covering college baseball. He's actually inside Shaw Schwab Field right now. It's a little wet right now. Hopefully, it won't be raining tomorrow. But Micah, it was nice catching up with you at Auburn. What did you think about the Super Regional between Auburn and Ole Miss?
The way the Ole Miss Rebels just battled every single level of adversity, right? Obviously, Auburn jumping out, having that response the way they did. I mean, the clutch hitting for this Ole Miss team, it might be the best left in the field. They just always seem to find a way. It was really, really impressive to see what they were capable of, and obviously they've got three quality arms that they trust, and they didn't even have to use one. So, sitting in this situation right now, I feel really good about where Ole Miss is at, and obviously they're going to have a tough test tomorrow with one of the best pitching staffs and best pitching teams in the remaining field with North Carolina. But if anyone can do it, it's Bianco and the crew.
We'll get to the big game tomorrow here in just a moment. What were your overall thoughts during the regular season and the regular NCAA regionals so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the most fun I've had in a season, just with the fact that, you've had some really fun storylines, some programs. Again, I mean, this Omaha field is just a great example of that with some really new, some obviously some new faces and some faces returning for the first time in a while. So I mean, it was a really fun year, and especially with how crazy the season kind of felt. It was interesting to me how, again, the Big 12 and the SEC champions and ACC, actually all three were regular season and then tournament champions. You don't normally see that, so it's kind of unique that there was a lot of parity yet pretty uniform when it came to that. But obviously, once the regionals rolled around, things got a little bit more interesting because only one of those Power Three conference champions made it to Omaha, and obviously that would be Georgia. So, just seeing how it played out for them, it just it was a really fun year all around, and we're starting to see programs that are investing in this sport getting the dividends rewarded to them. Nebraska's put a lot of money in; they get to host a regional. Kansas put a lot of money into it; they get to host a regional and a super. Go down the list. Troy put a lot of money into it, and they're rewarded with the super regional host of how the bracket played out. So, I'm always pro invest in college baseball. So it's nice to see the programs that have invested getting rewarded this year.
Yeah, that leads me into my next question is you guys at the College Baseball Central have done a great job covering the sport. Um, the rise of college baseball, and you've been following for a number of years. Is this the most, I don't want to say the most exciting, but I guess I'll say it. Is this the most exciting year in college baseball that you've seen while you've covered the sport this year with so many close games and so much fun and so many interesting regionals up to this point?
No, absolutely. I think the best part about all of it is I like to think I'm just a fan that got lucky that people want to listen to and kind of at least hear because I go to so many games. But you know, I'm now in a space where I mean, again, Pat McAfee's going to be here tomorrow covering doing a live show with his West Virginia Mountaineers here. Obviously, the Barstool stuff that was going on with the Georgia stuff, like this sport is gaining. Like I've talked to SIDs, like thankfully they're still pretty good to us because we've been there since day one. But like they're getting requests off the rear. I mean, the West Virginia who's currently practicing right now, as we're recording this, their SID was telling me about the 197 emails he received within 24 hours of them winning the regional from 172 different platform stations. Like he's never had that type of business before in his emails. Like it's really great to see that it's catching on. Obviously, there's always a fear that hopefully it never becomes too corporate. That's what I love about college baseball is I don't want to say it's pure, but it feels a lot more like the college sports we knew 10, 15 years ago, not the way the landscapes maybe changed in football and basketball as of late. But, it's great to see that again, there's multiple people posting a highlight of, again, Country Roads is a great example, right? That probably got 10, 15 million views across all platforms, if not more. And again, that's because a fan base like West Virginia gets to show off not only their university but their baseball program. So it's obviously great. I mean, a great example, right? Is I mean, I watched Ole Miss fans cry in the stands there at Auburn. How much it meant to them to be going back to Omaha for the first time since 2022. So that's great that the base level is still as strong as ever, and now it's starting to reach heights that it's never done before.
You're there in Omaha. You're inside the stadium now. Um, for fans that are traveling, a lot of people are coming up today or they're breaking the trip up. It's about 12 hours from Mississippi to Omaha. What are some things that fans need to do? You've been to Omaha a lot. What are some places they need to visit, and just your overall thoughts about Omaha as a hosting town?
Yeah, so I'm a little biased. I actually lived in Nebraska for a few years back in the or like right around COVID time. So I know how great this state is as a whole. Omaha obviously being the crown jewel, especially this time of year. But my biggest recommendation that I've been making to people that have asked me is get outside the city a little bit. Obviously, there's so much going on just outside the gates in the ballpark village. The Blatt's a great spot. Rocco's right. The Jello Shot Challenge is always a good time. But there's some really great, like last night I went to Around the Bend Steakhouse. It's about 25 minutes from Omaha in a town called Ashland. There's about 1,000 people that live there. It's a mom and pop shop. Everything's fresh. Like the steaks are fantastic. I get the meatloaf, which might be a crazy take, but I think it's the best meatloaf I've ever had in my life. Don't tell my mother that I said that. So like, there's this a family style atmospheres. Again, there's a lot to do. Nebraska's a very pretty state too. Like the sunsets here, I think are the best I've ever experienced in my life. Like I just say get out and experience a little bit more of what not just Omaha is. If you have time, like Lincoln's a great city. It's getting 45 minutes away. Obviously, I'm sure some Ole Miss fans maybe made the trek for the regional, but it's just this is just a great place to be. And if you're a baseball fan, spend a day just immersed out in the culture. So I can't again speak highly enough to what Omaha can bring as a whole. Because again, there's so much outside the ballpark. People kind of get lost there. Like there's a lot. 10 again. I also recommend this is my strongest recommendation. Go to the old Rosenblatt site. Check out the wiffle ball field. It's in the parking lot of the zoo. If you like the zoo, like I do, go to the zoo. But then down at the bottom of the hill is Stadium View Cards. It's owned by a gentleman named Piv. He's been running out of that place since when Rosenblatt was in its peak. He'll tell you stories about every Omaha store. Like you want to learn about a 1997 team, a 2001 team. He's got a story for you. Probably like I go there every year for about 5 hours. I carve out 5 hours. He'll give you a free beer when you get there. It's probably my favorite tradition I do in Omaha.
What about you mentioned a couple of food places? I know there's ice cream across the street. What are some food options for Ole Miss fans headed to town?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll advocate for Around the Bend Steakhouse, 20 minutes away any day. Again, just it's best food I've ever had personally. I just everything is fresh. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the meat you're getting on your plate was freshly butchered. It's always delicious. But there's a lot of great places outside the ballpark. I mean, again, the Blatt Bar is always a good time. Really good food. I can't remember the name of the Mexican place that's just down the road here, but it's right outside the ballpark. Everyone talks about the Rocco's Jello shots. Rocco's has the best, maybe not the best pizza in Omaha, but one of the best pizzas in Omaha. I love going to Rocco's every single year. Strongly recommend Rocco's. So, like for their pizza. So if you wanted to participate in the Jello shot challenge, maybe you're not like an avid, drinker. The pizza at Rocco's is the best thing on the menu. So strongly recommend that. So there's a lot of great options. I might be a hot take, but if you want something quick and fast, I'm a big pro Runza person. That's a Nebraska staple. So if you're into trying a potential fast food item, Runza's burgers are some of the best fast food burgers in the game.
Let's take a look at this matchup tomorrow, and also the side of the bracket. And quickly, your thoughts about West Virginia and Troy. Really great stories. You talked about Pat McAfee being that West Virginia graduate, and then of course the nightcap between Ole Miss and North Carolina. What do you like about the games tomorrow?
Yeah, I think again you got a perfect. I think the tournament as a whole, the first 2 days are set up almost perfectly. You've got fun storylines in the early games, and you've kind of got I guess you could say the blue bloods that are left in the later games. Obviously North Carolina and Ole Miss have been to Omaha in the last few years, and obviously on the flip side, I mean maybe Georgia's become the outlier there, but they've been the most dominant team in the sport this year. So you've got Georgia and obviously Texas in the nightcap tomorrow, but West Virginia and Troy are obviously, fun stories, but those are also really good baseball teams. Troy's rounded into form as of late. West Virginia, they've been cursed by their draws the last 2 years in supers, where they got a really hot North Carolina team who was literally having the Bosch magic, where they were hitting walk-off home runs every single year 2 years ago, and then obviously last year got sent to Baton Rouge for the Super Regionals. So they finally got a break, and they got rewarded by obviously punching their ticket to Omaha. So I think you've got great storylines. I think you've got the better pitching on this side of the bracket. I like obviously what UNC has with the freshman of the year in Glauber. You've got obviously DeCaro or Lynch going tomorrow. Obviously on Ole Miss's side, right? You've got three quality starters you're comfortable with, and West Virginia feels the same way about theirs. Troy's probably the least pitching heavy of the bunch, but they're also the scrappiest lineup with a lot of pop, and they play gap to gap really well. So You've got four teams that all have strength, and then you have three that are kind of similar, and then you've obviously got the outlier a little bit with Troy, who again is just probably the hottest team of the four coming here. So that's a really fun side of the bracket. And again, the nightcap being I'm assuming Carolina is going to be in their white pinstripes, and we'll probably see Ole Miss in the navy blues. It's going to be a beautiful uniform matchup, great crowd. I can't wait to see the Ole Miss faithful here tomorrow night. So it's probably my favorite Omaha field of the last 3 years. And I'm a University of Virginia guy, and we were in it 3 years ago. So I'm still loving this one almost a little bit more.
You take a look at this North Carolina team, and it's one that has been really good. Obviously, with 50 wins, over 50 wins. I think they're uh, right at 50 wins. The only series they lost this year was to Virginia, and they've been really good, and they've swung it pretty well. A couple of players, Owen Hull at 390, Jake Schaffner at 358. What makes this team so special, and kind of what is Ole Miss up against tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think the best thing that UNC has going for them is just they trust every single arm they trot out there. Obviously every team's going to say they have confidence in their guys, but there's very few that I think genuinely give them the truth serum, right? Could honestly say I could throw any of my arms and I think they'll get it done. And UNC is one of those programs. They develop arms at levels that they don't normally do. And Forbes has been here before. Obviously, a lot. Not this roster is fairly new. They hit on almost every transfer. Like their lineup's pretty much all transfer guys. So they did a really good job of filling their lineup with transfers. But you know, this coaching staff's been here before. They know what it takes to win here in Omaha. They won a couple games there in 2024. So from their standpoint, I think that's a big piece of that is that they kind of know what it's like. Plus, again, like they're a team suited to play here. I've always said if you want to be a team that relies on the long ball, Omaha is not the place you want to come play because some days like today it is blowing out a little bit, but this is not the most hitter friendly ballpark. Now, obviously, when you've got a lineup like Ole Miss, you can hit the ball out 500 feet. It does obviously change that a little bit, but North Carolina does a really good job. I mean, you look at what they did against USC in that elimination game. That was just situational hitting. It wasn't hitting the walk off bomb to get it done. It was putting the balls in the gap, moving guys over, having the sack flies, what ties it. Like they do a really good job of just situational hitting, and as long as it's not too far behind, they're never out of a ball game because they do a really good job. Like if it's 4-0, you're going to still see them stick to their approach. They're not going to go away from it. They're not a very like, all right, well we're down 4, so we got to swing for the fences because they know that's not what their identity is. So I think with Ole Miss, you're gonna have to continue to answer any sort of like response you get from UNC because some of these teams I think here in this field you can kind of maybe punch them in the mouth and you can throw them off their game. I just don't think UNC is one of those teams.
He's Micah Beutell, does a great job covering college baseball for College Baseball Central. How much do you make of the fact that North Carolina had a battle back after losing the opening game to USC? They're kind of battle tested. Like I said, only lost that one series to Virginia, and battle tested, win the final two, and then that gets them to Omaha.
Yeah, I think what's maybe beneficial if you're Ole Miss is UNC hasn't looked the greatest in game ones all year. You kind of look back at the trends. If they're losing games in series, it seems to be that Friday night game, or again like they kind of struggle. Like obviously they lost game one against USC. So from that standpoint, like it puts Ole Miss in a good spot for tomorrow night. But UNC's again of the four teams that are on that side of the bracket, you said, hey, they're going to have to go through the elimination bracket. They're the team I'm most confident can come back through it. So I think that's from a UNC standpoint, they're kind of sitting there feeling confident that like, again, not that they want to drop game one, but they're not going to be like, oh, we can't do this because they've obviously done it before and they've found ways to win series throughout the year that way. So I think that's what makes UNC so dangerous. Is like if you're an Ole Miss fan, if you beat them game one, that might not be the last time you see them, and you're probably going to be playing an even more dangerous UNC team if you see them again.
Taking a look at the right side of the bracket, who do you like out of the four SEC teams coming out of that right side?
I've all year said Texas was winning the national championship. I've just always believed in them. I just like what they do there. Again, they have probably the best three arms in the sport, especially if you get the good Ruger Riojas. So you've got a good spot with obviously them, Harrison Volantis, but also like Jim Schlossnagle just knows how to win. I love that staff with Max Wiener and Nolan Kane and go down the list, Troy Tulowitzki, like they just know how to win. And so this stage is not going to bother them. Again, Schloss has been here a ton, whether it was with TCU or A&M before this. This is a fan base and a program that's been itching for this. They haven't been back in a while. So I think if I've kind of said whoever wins tomorrow, or excuse me, Saturday night's game between Texas and Georgia is the one we're going to see in the national championship. That just kind of feels like that spot. I don't want to rule out Alabama, as I do think they're a very scrappy group, but I mean, Oklahoma has just kind of felt like a team of destiny too. So like again, that storyline on that side, you've got the special story of what Alabama's building. Oklahoma, I mean, I'll be completely honest, I wrote them off a long time ago, and here they are in Omaha. If you would have told me Oklahoma was going to be in Omaha, I would have asked you like in what year, not this season. So they've done a really good job of just scrapping away, skipping that crew. Just they create chaos. And then again, obviously Georgia has been the most complete and probably dominant team in the country so far this year. Minus their strength of schedule is really the only knock you can throw on Georgia this year. So that's a. I mean, as an ACC homer, it hurts my heart to see four SEC teams on that side, but those are four really good baseball teams. So I can't say I don't like seeing four of the best on that side of the bracket.
What do you think happens tomorrow night between Ole Miss and North Carolina?
Yeah, I think North Carolina is going to get it done. I keep hearing it's probably going to be DeCaro that goes. Again, nothing's
Is that
confirmed. So
right? Okay.
either way, whether it's DeCaro, whether it's Lynch, like anyone that says it's a pitching off if they go one way or the other, it's not. It's just literally option A or option B. Both are obviously really good options. But I just think that North Carolina, that they when they were here 2 years ago, they were frustrated because they obviously ran into the Tennessee team, excuse me, in game one. That kind of caught them off guard, and again, team of destiny, and they felt like they were the best team uh, in Omaha that year, besides Tennessee. And of course, they faced them game one. So I think they're kind of from a staff standpoint licking their chops to get back to it. I think again, it's the stage and the way they've been battle tested. Like I do think the path they had to go through. I mean, Ole Miss probably had a tougher path, but North Carolina obviously had a very tough path too. Like that USC team was a very underrated two seed. Like I still think USC should have hosted if you look at the metrics of everything. So you had a tough path to get through, and so I think UNC is going to do it. But I don't think it's also going to be the only time we see UNC and Ole Miss here in Omaha either. If that gives you any more clarification.
Do you make anything out of the fact that Mike Bianco, when he took the job back in 2001, had a lot of success, a lot of early success, made it to a couple of super regionals early, tough losses at home in '05 and '06. Do you think that that experience of all of that adversity and it all kind of coming together over, since 2014, this will be his third trip, and obviously including that 22 national championship. Do you think you can learn from that adversity earlier in your career to kind of build upon where Ole Miss is right now?
Oh, absolutely. And I think like that 22 run. I mean, I'm obviously not in the room with Ole Miss, and I'll be honest, I don't have the greatest relationship with that staff. Just don't see them a lot. Like I would be shocked if they don't have guys from the 22 team come. I mean, you got one guy in the room that was on that 22 team with Elliott. Like, just reminding them what that because like the adversity that team came through arguably was more impressive than what they've had to battle through this year. So you know they're they're so bad. Like that's the one thing I give Ole Miss a ton of credit for is I've all year questioned whether or not they were good enough to get to this stage, but they're so hungry. Like Becerra, like we're actually fun. His roommate Dom Listy's coming to Omaha to help us out, and he was telling me the story about how he had to bet on himself and how Ole Miss is giving him that chance. And so like they've got guys in this room that are playing for a program that believed in them when very few did. And I think that's a very dangerous group, right? Because you're playing not only for yourself, but you're playing for everyone around you. And I mean, again, the Ole Miss faithful are one of the best in the sport. So I think that adversity factored in with the guys in the room right now who kind of have chips on their shoulders from different stops, different programs, or again, in Hunter Elliott's case, like remembers what that tastes like. I think it just creates a nice formula to be able to replicate it.
He's Micah Beutell, does a great job covering college baseball for College Baseball Central. Be sure and follow all their content. Micah, give us all of the spots people need to go to make sure and they can get all of yours and everybody's content at College Baseball Central there from Omaha.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want a lot of the good content from coaches' interviews to in-game stuff, College Baseball Central at College Baseball CNT on Instagram and Twitter is going to be your go-to spot. When I'm out here in Omaha, I do tell a lot more stories of the behind-the-scenes stuff. So if you like to learn more about the grounds crew or the equipment managers that are putting in hours or what the food's like here in Omaha, I'm your guy at Micah_CBC. We'll obviously talk about the games too, but I like to let people that maybe don't get the chance and aren't as fortunate enough as me to be here kind of experience, through me, I guess, what it's like to be here. So we'll have good stuff all day. We've got 7 people here on our crew, so we're very blessed that the NCAA allows so many of us to come out and get different perspectives of this great sport. So we're gonna have a lot of good stuff over the next 10 to 11 days.
We enjoy it, Micah. Look forward to talking with you down the road as you are live there in Omaha. Thanks, Micah.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
That was Micah Beutell. Does a great job covering college baseball for College Baseball Central. Couldn't do what we do without all of our sponsors. And we want to say a special thank you to Connie's Chicken in Oxford, located on West Jackson Avenue, right there before you get on the 4-lane to go to Batesville or go to Pontotoc. It's right there on the left. Connie's Chicken, some of the best chicken in Oxford. Go by and see them today. Tell them you heard about it on the Talk of Champions. We appreciate everybody joining us here on the Talk of Champions. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk more about the big game tomorrow night between Ole Miss and North Carolina. We'll be back in just a moment.
Require Riverland Roofing. Licensed, insured, and certified, Riverland Roofing offers not only the assurance of excellence, but a tailored approach to your unique structural needs and budget. To learn more about what Riverland Roofing can do for you and the community, call them at 662-644-4297 or visit riverlandroofing.com.
Hey, Rebels, your truck is here. Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford presents the all-new Ram Rebel. It's Ram, the Rebel way. Send an unmistakable signal. Rebel 24/7. Ram Rebel from your friend in the car business. Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford.
Come by, let's be friends. I'm Lawyer Philip Hearn. Raising my family here in Mississippi, I've tried to teach my kids to help others. I learned that from my parents. And as a Mississippi lawyer, I want to help you too. If you're hurt in a traffic accident, 18-wheeler wreck, or have insurance trouble, call 601-720-3541. That's my cell. You call, I'll answer. Let's get started. Make your first call to the Hearn Law Firm today.
And we appreciate everybody sponsoring us here on the Talk of Champions. And also a special thank you to our title and presenting sponsor of all of our coverage from Ole Miss and the College World Series from our friends at Connie's Chicken. Connie's Chicken, they have breakfast. You got to go by and get that blueberry donut. They do wonderful work there at Connie's Chicken. Service is fantastic. The food is fresh. The food is great. It's on West Jackson Avenue. Please go by and tell them you appreciate all the coverage from Ole Miss in the College World Series in Omaha right here on the Talk of Champions and our good friends at Connie's Chicken. We want to also say a special thank you to our friends at the College Corner store. Scott and his entire team did wonderful work, doing great work right now, trying to get that College World Series gear out. There's a link on my social channels on Twitter at Brad Logan TOC and also on Facebook at Brad Logan, where you can go and find all of your official college World Series merchandise. Order it, and they will ship it right to your front door. Is our friends at the College Corner store. You can go by and see them today, right there in Oxford, off of Sisk Avenue on the left, past the movie theater, or give them a call at 662-550-4330. Best place to go is collegecornerstore.com. You can look at all of that official College World Series merchandise, and also you can go to our social channels at Brad Logan TOC and at Spirit Ben, and that's where you can see everything that is the College World Series and any type of merchandise that you can get. They've got a lot of cool stuff at the College Corner store. It's Ole Miss and North Carolina. You've been watching a lot of highlights, and we want to say a special thank you to Micah Beutell, kind enough to join us here on the program as we get ready for Ole Miss and North Carolina. That's, of course, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. We'll hear from Mike Bianco later on today. He'll have a chance to address the media. Basically, you don't want to say the hay's in the barn, but you know what? The hay's in the barn. I mean, kind of know what you're going to get. I think the question is going to be, is Hunter Elliott going to throw Taylor Rabe? I expect Mike to throw Hunter Elliott just because of the history, just because of how well that Hunter has thrown in the College World Series, being that player that is left from that 2022 team. And that's just where we expect to get it from Mike today, is that Hunter Elliott would get the nod. If that's the case, and you get Taylor Rabe on Sunday at 1 p.m. if you win that game, then all bets are off. You're moving to Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and if you win that game, then you're in the catbird seat. But there's a big opponent in front right now, and that is North Carolina. A couple things I want to point out is North Carolina 50-12-1. As many have said, as Micah said a little bit ago, have not lost but one series this year, and that was Virginia. That happened in early March. And according to Warren Nolan, who we talk a lot about on the Talk of Champions, 12th nationally in their strength of schedule. Obviously, Ole Miss had a very high strength of schedule, maybe 2 or 3. At one point, it was fluctuated there because of the competition. You look at the right side of the bracket, and you've got all SEC teams. So it's obviously everybody's very familiar with each other. Oddly enough, Ole Miss in the Auburn Regional last weekend had not faced Auburn all year, so that was interesting. But the situation as it is, 50 wins, and you look at this team in North Carolina, and there's been talk about who they will throw. We'll learn that later on today. At the plate, they're hitting at 293 as a team, and led Owen Hull, one particular player, 390 at the plate. Jake Schaffner at 358. And they don't strike out a lot. They don't bunt a lot, but they've got a lot of the tendencies that Texas had back in the Ole Garrido game. I don't know. I'm butchering that name. Augie Garillo. Y'all going to kill me on that. But they don't bunt a lot, but they do manufacture runs. And they move runners over. They do a lot of sacks. And, we'll see. I mean, I anticipate Ole Miss. Micah said it a moment ago. This is not a ballpark to where it lends itself to have just bomb after bomb. And we've seen Tristan Macetta, Judd Udemark, Will Furness. I mean, the long ball has been big for Ole Miss. They've punched out a lot. We know that. But I do think that Ole Miss, over the last couple of series, has evolved. They're not going for that long ball quite as much. They're hitting the gapper. They're going with the pitch and getting the singles. And they're getting the sack flies. We're seeing more of that. They're still very much a home run team. But you look at North Carolina and you look at Ole Miss, and, Ole Miss has struck out 688 batters this year. Their team ERA is 4.37, and opponents are batting right at 246. Then you look across the way at North Carolina, 3.86 team ERA. They struck out 573, and those opponents are batting 239. So I do think North Carolina is one of the better teams in Omaha. I do think the winner of Georgia-Texas comes out of that bracket. I do think the winner of North Carolina and Ole Miss comes out of the left bracket. So what does Ole Miss need to do? What are their keys to success tomorrow night? I do think it will be a pro-Ole Miss crowd. From everything that I've gathered, it's going to be a monster Ole Miss crowd. Folks are going to Omaha in droves. So I anticipate a huge Ole Miss crowd. So Ole Miss has that in its favor. At the end of the day, I wonder who they will throw. And you look at North Carolina and, their particular two pitchers that we've talked a lot about. Will they throw who they're going to throw? We'll learn that later on today. Coach Scott Forbes has been very pro and sticking with the guys that got them to where they are in the ACC. Once again, only losing that one series, that's really key against Virginia, and that happened back in March. So, they pitched it really well. They've hit it really well. They're a really complete team, and they had to battle back against USC out of California the other night. And so having to battle back, I do think there's a bit of some battle testiness. Micah Beutell said they might go with Jason DeCaro. Real quick, his number's 11-2, a 2.28 ERA. He's been really good. He started 17 games this year. He only allowed 28 runs. He struck out 84 and only walked 38. So that's someone they could go. Historically, they go with the game one is Ryan Lynch. Lynch is 5-4 with a 1.42 ERA. I'm sorry, a 4.22 ERA, 1.42 WHIP. And then you look at his strikeout numbers, 82 strikeouts to 33 walks. So very similar to Jason DeCaro in regards to walks and strikeouts. If they go with DeCaro, that just means that you're trying to get that game one. But it kind of goes against what we've seen earlier this year. So definitely something to monitor if you're Ole Miss. At the end of the day, it's Ole Miss and North Carolina in game one of the left side of the bracket in Omaha. We'll have full coverage for you on the Talk of Champions and also the Ole Miss Spirit. Jay Thompson, wall-to-wall coverage on the Ole Miss Spirits along with Ben Garrett. Ben Garrett and I will be here at the Talk of Champions. We'll have pregame, postgame, and all points in between. And all of our coverage, once again, is brought to you by our friends at Connie's Chicken. Connie's Chicken, located right there in West Jackson Avenue. The freshest chicken that you'll find. Incredible service. And our friends at Connie's Chicken do wonderful work there on West Jackson Avenue, and proud supporter of the Talk of Champions and Ole Miss baseball in Omaha. So taking a look at Ole Miss, one particular player, and we talked about keys to victory, and I think number one you're seeing on the screen as you're watching alongside with us on YouTube, Tristan Becerra is someone that's been up, he's been down, but you really feel like someone like Tristan Becerra, Judd Udemark, they can get the ball out of the ballpark. They've got, as a lot of the stats have been coming out over the last couple of days, exit velo, Ole Miss is number one. Home runs, Ole Miss is way up there. The length of the home runs, the shot that Becerra hit in Auburn, I'm not sure if it's landed. The same one with Judd Udemark. Will Furness, his shot to right. Will was 0 for 8 coming into his last at bat that won the ball game. We're showing you the highlights from Texas, and Ole Miss won that game 9-8. And I think it's definitely relevant because as well as Ole Miss played earlier this year, we know they can play with the big boys. We know that Ole Miss can play with Georgia because they were a couple of pitches away, a couple of at-bats away from winning that series in Oxford. That game on Saturday night, they went extra innings. Ole Miss had a great opportunity to win that series, and they couldn't close. But it's a situation where the Rebels are familiar with Texas and Georgia on that side of the bracket, not familiar with the teams they will face here on the left side of the bracket. They'll get the winner of Troy and West Virginia if it can beat North Carolina tomorrow night. Once again, we've said on this show multiple times, the key in any type of a regional play is getting to 2-0. And that's what Ole Miss has to do. They have to get to 2-0. What do they do to get there? Quite frankly, they just have to win tomorrow night. And I think in order to do that, they're going to have to pitch it really well. I think it'll be Hunter Elliott. But they have to be disciplined at the plate, whether it be Jason DeCaro or Lynch throwing for North Carolina. Could do what we do without all of our sponsors. Thanks again for the College Corner Store and Scott for sponsoring the show. They were our title presenting sponsor last week in Auburn. This week, we're grateful to have our friends at Connie's Chicken on board with us, providing all of our coverage from the College World Series and Ole Miss and Omaha. We appreciate everyone at Connie's Chicken for being our talent presenting sponsor. The talent presenting sponsor for the Talk of Champions is Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. You heard about them a little bit ago. They've got anything from a Ram truck to a Jeep, Cherokee, the Wagoneer. Go by and see Greta Morgan today and let her know that Brad Logan sent you by, and she will put you in a brand new vehicle. So we appreciate Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram and all of our sponsors here on the Talk of Champions. One more timeout. We'll come back with more right here on the Talk of Champions. It's Ole Miss and North Carolina tomorrow night from Omaha. First pitch is 6 p.m.
Homes and businesses from the whims of nature, you need more than just quality materials. You require Riverland Roofing. Licensed, insured, and certified, Riverland Roofing offers not only the assurance of excellence, but a tailored approach to your unique structural needs and budget. To learn more about what Riverland Roofing can do for you and the community, call them at 662-644-4297 or visit riverlandroofing.com.
Hey, Rebels, your truck is here. Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford presents the all-new Ram Rebel. It's Ram, the Rebel way. Send an unmistakable signal. Rebel 24/7. Ram Rebel from your friend in the car business. Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford.
Come by, let's be friends.
I'm Lawyer Philip Hearn. Raising my family here in Mississippi, I've tried to teach my kids to help others. I learned that from my parents. And as a Mississippi lawyer, I want to help you too. If you're hurt in a traffic accident, 18-wheeler wreck, or have insurance trouble, call 601-720-3541. That's my cell. You call, I'll answer. Let's get started. Make your first call to the Hearn Law Firm today.
And thanks to all of our sponsors here on the Talk of Champions. Also, a special thank you to Riverland Roofing. Give Riverland Roofing a call today, 662-644-4297, or online at riverlandroofing.com. It's Ole Miss and North Carolina tomorrow night. That, of course, happens in Omaha. It's a special year, and we talked with Micah Beutell. We've got some more interviews lined up, of course, that we will bring you. Pre-game show, post-game show. Jake Thompson, of course, does a great job from a beat perspective on the Ole Miss Spirit. Be sure and go by the omspirit.com. That's the Ole Miss Spirit. That's an affiliate of On3. Wall-to-wall coverage from Jake and also Ben Garrett. And we'll have full coverage for you. It's Ole Miss in Omaha. I really, in many ways, you just kind of pinch yourself because we talked with Micah Beutell about how cool it is to see, a team like Ole Miss that has really, really fought through a lot of odds as we watched from that 2022 season. And not to say that this team has really any characteristics like the 2022 team on the field, but I think off the field they do. And, I asked Mike Bianco on Monday, and you heard that on our show yesterday, but I asked him specifically about what does it mean to you personally to make it to Omaha again? And he did not like the question. And he pushed back and he said, it's just not about me. It's all about these players. And I think he means that. But, I mean, you can see the pictures from the team when they walked on the field yesterday, being able to see the team, being able to see the field. And Ole Miss will practice later on today, and there'll be a media opportunity. We'll bring all of that to you, by the way. But seeing Mike's face and seeing the players' face, and look, I'm sure he's probably as happy for the players as he is for anything else. At the end of the day, you've got a situation to where Mike Bianco is in his twilight of his career, and he's as good as he's ever been. And we're seeing a coach that understands how to evolve. Not only does he understand how to evolve, he understands how to incorporate that as a head coach. We're seeing Mike Bianco with a pitching coach in Joel Mangrum that is completely revolutionizing a pitching staff, how to manufacture that. I don't know if Auburn, the Super Regional Auburn, could have gone to a better script than it did. When you open with Hunter Elliott, he went as far as he could, good outing. Then you come with Hudson Calhoun, and then you come with Walker Hooks. I don't know if you can draw it up any better. And then the following day, you start with Taylor Rabe, who looked great. And then after Taylor Rabe, here comes J.P. Robertson, who's been a huge, huge win for Ole Miss. And then I thought maybe you might leave him in and close, but you bring in Walker Hooks and he closes it. I think the key for the game tomorrow night is for Ole Miss to get as far as they can with Hunter Elliott. And then at that point, then you start thinking about going to Hudson Calhoun and then closing with Walker Hooks, You get to 1-0, and you really like Ole Miss's chances making the championship. You really do, because at that point they match up against West Virginia and Troy, that winner. And then, you want to stay out of that loser's bracket because Omaha is tough. We see Ole Miss hoisting the trophy there in 2022. That's what you hope Ole Miss can do in what feels like a month, but it's a week and a half in Omaha. Ole Miss has that opportunity. It's Ole Miss in North Carolina tomorrow night. Once again, full coverage for you here on the Talk of Champions. Couldn't do what we do without our friends at the College Corner store. And for this particular trip, we want to say a special thank you to our friends at Connie's Chicken. Connie's Chicken is all of our coverage from Ole Miss in Omaha is brought to you by our friends at Connie's Chicken. That's, of course, on West Jackson Avenue there in Oxford. We appreciate everybody at Connie's Chicken. Go by and get a breakfast sandwich today and tell them you heard about it on the Talk of Champions. We'll have Ben Garrett with us next time. We'll see you, as it has been so much fun following this baseball team. It's Ole Miss in Omaha. They've got North Carolina tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Wall-to-wall coverage on the Talk of Champions. May even come to you with more content later on today, depending on what we have and what Mike says in his media availability coming up later on today. Stay locked in to the Talk of Champions on our YouTube page and all social channels at Spirit Band and at Brad Logan TOC. Also stay locked into the Ole Miss Spirit. That's onspirit.com. That's an affiliate of On3. I'm Brad Logan, on location today, not inside our studio, on the remote studio here on the Talk of Champions. We'll talk to you soon right here on the Talk of Champions. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you.